And humans will certainly end up going to Mars one day in their search for water, an essential requirement for all life. Any questions?
There's a lot of talk about water at the moment, especially the lack of it in the future.
Yeah, you know they even declared a water decade a while back.
Can you tell us why, please, Maestro?
All that stuff's a joke. There's water everywhere and plenty to go around. Look at the rivers and lakes and all those things. Huh?
But you must never think there's enough water. A human being needs to drink 1.5 to 2 liters of water each and every day. Any less and they grow weak. After 3 or 4 days without water, they die. Although they can survive for 10 days or more without eating anything.
But Maestro, the lakes, rivers, and water tables, they should be enough, shouldn't they?
Water tables? What are they?
15,000 years ago, during the last ice age, and because of climate change, the polar ice caps melted, and the water released raised the level of the oceans by 120 meters.
120 meters more water? That's impossible.
So populations fled to higher ground, settling in caves that we are still discovering today. Actually, at the time, there were very few people in the world. Probably no more than 20,000 individuals in the whole of Europe.
So few? That's impossible.
A small part of this water drained into the ground to form the water tables, and these would satisfy more than half our needs for drinking water. Now, that wouldn't be such a bad thing, would it, if they had not themselves become highly polluted over time?
But they're so deep they should stay pure, shouldn't they?
Fertilizers and pesticides used in farming seep into the ground, and the water is also polluted by industry, by wastewater. Everything ends up in the water.
So can't we stop it?
Well, no, we can't. And so lots of people in the world drink polluted water and catch serious diseases. For you and I, water makes up more than 2/3 of our body weight. The fruit and vegetables that we eat contain 80 to 90% water.
But Maestro, even if people need 1.5 liters of water a day, that's not so much, is it?
Provided that it's not polluted.
But Maestro, we don't pollute that much.
That what you think? More than 20 billion tons of our waste ends up every year in the sea, and each liter of polluted water pollutes 8 more.
20 billion tons? That's a vast amount.
Yes, it is a vast amount. And what's more, a liter of gasoline poured onto the ground will reach the water table and pollute 1 to 5 million liters of it. And you have no idea what goes into the sewers. In France, they've just found a hood from a car, a bicycle frame, TV screens, PCs, chairs, cell phones, glasses, and much more.
Yeah, but even so, I'm sure we can find 1.5 liters each.
Probably. But we need 1,000 times more for everyone's food.
That I cannot believe.
Let me explain. You need 600 liters of water to produce 1 kilo of corn, which we use mainly to feed poultry, 1,500 liters to grow 1 kilo of wheat, and 4,000 liters or more to produce 1 kilo of rice, and the same amount for 1 kilo of meat. Meanwhile, 1.5 billion people have no drinking water.
So what do they do, Maestro?
In some African countries, women have to walk 12 kilometers a day to bring their family enough water to keep them from dying of thirst.
But Maestro, there has to be a solution for this.
It's a complicated issue. We'll talk about it again later. We'll soon be on vacation, and we can travel, see the world and its water problems, and then we can all work together to try and find some solutions. So then, kids, have I got any volunteers for Mexico? Well, why not? We need to find out.
It was such a beautiful country, but now without the pollution, drought, and poverty.
Ah, yes, you're right. Some of you want to visit different parts of the world. Well, take our shuttle. It's at your disposition and is pretty fast. Peter, Cy, Grimbo, you're coming with me. I'm going to warm up my old bones under the sun. But where's Peter? Where are you, young man?
I'm coming, Maestro. I'm coming right now.
Right, Petra, Jumbo, and Buster, you're going to India. So all aboard for the subcontinent. Everything is arranged, and your guide is waiting for you. Off you go.
Sorry,
Well, better late than never.
Welcome to my country. My name is Rahul, and I'll be your guide. So would you like to visit our great modern cities then? Delhi, our capital, is quite near here. And just like one of your cities.
Oh, yeah, great. Let's go.
Afraid not. We didn't come here to see the sights, but to talk about the water.
Yes, we've all come here to study your scarce and precious water, and perhaps go as far as Calcutta.
That's exactly what I thought. But I'd also like to show you what a modern, dynamic nation we are. Our hundreds and thousands of engineers and IT experts who work for companies the world over. Our great buildings, our luxury hotels, our stores, our universities, restaurants, cafes, cinemas.
I guess it'll have to wait till next time.
Well, we're in Rajasthan, in the north of the country. Before we go further south towards the Ganges and poorer regions, I'd like to show you one of our water management success stories. It's really close.
See, my friends, thanks to this water we are happy. The harvest is good and the animals are well fed. So is the wildlife and nature. Look at this forest, these green trees. They stop the runoff of rainwater, and no one is allowed to cut them down without permission from the elders of the village.
How do you get everything so green here?
In just a few years, the villagers have built more than 40 reservoirs here to collect water. So when the monsoon rain comes, everything fills up.
The water collected this way seeps down into the water table.
Wow, and you built all of that on your own?
Well, you see, they provided the land and the labor. And an organization called Young India helped them.
When I think back to those years, there was once famine when it didn't rain. We were reduced to eating grass. There was nothing else, whereas nowadays, well, you can see our land. We even have wild animals that come to drink here. Hyenas, jackals, monkeys, leopards, stags. All kinds. And that is a good thing, you know. We've even seen a tiger.
So why haven't you done the same thing everywhere else?
Good question. The answer is because the regional feeders are not in favor of it. Yes, they prefer to build huge dams whose water costs 3 times as much. Even so, they've managed to do the same thing in 1,000 villages like that, you know?
Hey!
A fortress built in the 16th century to hold out against the Mongol invasion.
Look! There was even a woman carrying a child on her stomach. Did you see?
Yeah, it's like in the desert in Africa.
We are in the state of Gujarat, a country where in just 20 years of excessive irrigation had used up all its water. Above, and below ground. We're heading for the south. It's better there. You'll see. Water and pesticides. Nobody taught the farmers to use them sparingly.
And all that ends up in the river, polluting it.
Yeah, the pesticides will drain into the ground and reach the water table. A water what? Yeah, I remember.
They are only interested in the size of the harvest and not how to protect the water supply from the effects of pesticides, which means... Yes, our rivers are often used as refuse dumps. And in this region, there are very few sewage systems.
And that's the water the people drink downstream.
Hey!
That old man has given away all his possessions. We have to help him survive.
But why did he do that?
Because he's devoting the end of his life to the search of wisdom.
Where does the water come from?
From the river, of course.
But the water's polluted.
That is true, but we have no other source. Our water isn't very clean, but what can we do?
Why don't you try treating it? That'd help.
And where would you expect us to find the money? We live on so little here, you know. Not even $1 a day.
But there are solutions. With a sachet like that, you can purify 20 liters of water for $1.
And where will I get that money?
There's a new technique for purifying water using ultraviolet rays. $300 for 1,000 people.
That's interesting, but it's still too expensive for us.
In the north of India, there is a tree called the Moringa oleifera. Its seeds can be used to filter water by attracting and capturing bacteria and viruses.
But we'd need pools.
Listen, you have the land and the men. Just go ahead and build the pools. And we'll send you what you need to purify your water.
Water hyacinths clean water. And a water lettuce developed by a French researcher feeds on waste and fixes pollutants.
And you can use it as a fertilizer to put on your crops after. That's right, but you need over a cubic meter of water per person.
Yes, build a few small dams to hold back water and a few pools like the people in Rajasthan. The monsoon rains will fill them.
And you have enough seeds to start.
We'll do our best to help you later.
I just want to, Bihar, where we are now, was a poor region, and everything was corrupt. And over the last few years, there have been more than 20,000 kidnappings. But there's more than that to India, you know. 500,000 engineers graduate from our universities each year. Their standards and quality of work are appreciated worldwide.
Yes, but you still have a lot of illiteracy.
That's India for you. Contrast everywhere.
So what's that? It doesn't look great.
It's cow dung.
Yeah, who's gonna buy that?
It's one of the few fuels in this region.
And it's a great natural fertilizer.
Hello there, I'm a doctor. I studied medicine in Canada. Welcome.
Did you build the new well?
No, it was an international organization that completed that well for the village, as well as many, many others.
That's good, isn't it?
Yes, but the problem is that the water in almost all those wells contains a poison, arsenic. I still remember one old man, when he saw the water pouring from our well, he cried out, "That's the devil's water!" He didn't realize how right he was. Hundreds of thousands of Indians have been poisoned by this arsenic. And in Bangladesh, it's even worse. It affects millions.
But how can that be? Isn't the water analyzed first of all?
Of course not. That would cost too much. Do you want to see what it does? Come on, I'll show you. Some only have skin conditions, but it's worse for others.
And what can you do for them?
First of all, reassure them. Their sickness isn't infectious. The only cure is to take vitamins and drink clean water. I think the World Health Organization is making a bit of an effort to supply them.
You should build reservoirs.
Here, have these. It'll give you a little clean water in the meantime.
And you can be sure we'll be campaigning for your cause. Yes.
Calcutta is an hour's drive away, if we can actually move. I can't even be sure we are actually on the right road. It's that way. We are nearly there now. It's a slum, a town in itself. Many people who can't find accommodation in Calcutta live here. Do you want to see?
School kids? Are there schools here then?
You'll see.
So who are these people here?
Almost all of them work mainly in Calcutta, but can't afford the rents in the city.
What do they do? What are their jobs?
Office workers, hotel staff, manual workers, there are even civil servants.
Ah!
You're French. That's great. I'm French as well. I set up this school here a few years back. And that one too. Sewing, typing, and IT. For these girls who have no one to look after them.
All these people have such self-respect. But the water, where's the water?
They get a ration of 1 liter of clean water per day.
Well, in France, they use between 200 and 300 liters a day. And in America, 800 liters per day.
The nearest well is half an hour away on foot. As for the quality of its water... The Ganges, 3,000 kilometers long, but there's too much pumping and irrigation along its length. It won't rise to its proper level again until a monsoon comes. 500 million people live on the banks of the Ganges, the greatest concentration of people in the world.
But that's more than all of Europe's population. Wow.
and 1.5 billion liters of wastewater pour into the river every day. Often the fish here are totally inedible, and sometimes even the surrounding crops can't be eaten. Look, paddy fields.
They grow rice. It takes more than 4,000 liters of water to produce a kilo.
Well, it's one of our main foods. Tea plantations and corn. Would you like to see the Calcutta water treatment plant?
Sure, that'll be interesting. But there's no treatment plant here.
No, it's a bit like what you explained. Plants are used to absorb some of the impurities in the water and feed carp and large prawns, much to the delight of the fishermen.
Well, I suppose that system's better than nothing.
Look, they're untouchables. The poorest caste in the country. The government is trying to improve things for them and even gives them jobs.
Flowers are for girls.
Let's go as far as the Ganges.
Well, Calcutta does have a population of 15 million.
And very few sanitary facilities.
They use the river instead.
Of course, the city wasn't planned for so many people.
This water is impure and dangerous. It's the cause of 80% of your people's diseases.
Your river is the most polluted one in the world. Why don't you try and keep its water clean and purified?
This water is a gift from heaven, and the Ganges is Shiva's hair, which purifies everything. It brings happiness and health.
Oh, no. This water claims more victims than all the wars in the world.
The Veda says that man is the creditor of the gods who give and take whenever they think fit.
What can we do, Maestro? We really don't know.
When you get back, my children, we'll talk about it and we'll find solutions.
You must understand that your Western-style solutions cannot be applied here. We are too poor, and there are too many of us. And you only wanted to see the poor part of our country.
So why not extend all over the country the system of pools filled by monsoon rains?
And teach everyone to save more water and your farmers to use less. And international organizations will still have to help all these people.
Yes, we'll work on that. Everyone should be given the chance to live their lives decently.